I'm Gary Venner, CEO of IFA Acquisitions, and I'm joined by Anand Chandarana, Senior Tax Manager of Haines Watts, who are one of the top 15 chartered accountancy firms in the UK with over 50 local offices, where we continue our informative question and answer series on our YouTube channel to provide insights into helping buyers and sellers understand the benefits of using brokers for the purchase and sale of IFA businesses, and also from using accountants for sound tax planning advice. The title of the next video is coming up on the screen now. So Anand, you've given us lots of useful advice to sellers that may be contemplating the sale of their business. I'm just going to ask you sort of a question that what tips would you be giving a seller to start to think about the accountancy side and the tax planning if they were embarking on the sale of their business?
Well, the best advice I would give to anyone who wanted to sell their business is to think ahead, think about what you want to do, what you want to achieve from the sale, and what the horizon looks like. You know, how long you expect to, how long you're going to have the company up for sale, I suppose, and what you're expecting to achieve from that, and then also what your future looks like and what your family's future looks like. So, you know, the best answer to that is always going to be think about that sooner rather than later if really an exit is on the cards, because a lot of the things we've talked about from a tax point of view requires at least 2 years, potentially longer. So you always need to approach a professional, you know, on the legal side, on the accountant side, on the tax advisor side, as soon as possible, and then we can put things in place. As we've said, a lot of the things we've talked about are highly prescriptive. And sometimes you can come across people. A good example is someone with a limited company and maybe the shares are not straightforward ordinary shares. You know, if you are going to do a share sale, potentially some of those shares might not qualify for business asset disposal relief because they've got to be proper ordinary share capital shares. Yeah. And sometimes you've got preference shares which may or may not qualify. So all of those things, by the time you're discussing heads of terms, it's too late.
Yes.
And the most informed founder, well, forearmed is forewarned. And so we would always say to them, if you're contemplating a sale, think about what's going to be, how much you're going to get for the company, but also who's going to get what, and then therefore what the implications are. Because actually maybe there is a way to structure it differently to achieve a better outcome for everyone, not just you, potentially your key employees, and that would always be the best advice we could give.
Well, that sounds really sound advice, Anand. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Anand, if you're an acquirer and you're wanting to start to acquire businesses, you know, the importance of coming and talking to a specialist firm like yourself of accountants that are working in this space is really important. What sort of top tips would you be giving to an acquirer or someone that wants to start acquiring businesses?
It would be very similar advice in that pre-planning is always going to be useful. Understand what sort of business you're going to acquire, why that one is more attractive than another one. And actually, from a accountant and tax advisor point of view, do the due diligence. That's absolutely key. You've got to make sure you know what you're buying. You've got to make sure that you are aware of any skeletons in the closet. So, especially from a tax point of view, the tax legislation has more than doubled since 1997. Gordon Brown came in and took over and essentially doubled it within, I think, the first Parliament. He basically doubled the legislation within the first Parliament, and it's only grown since then. And what's happened is what was essentially one tax act has become 5-6 tax acts, all in different areas. Essentially, we've gone from a system which was the rules are written down, here are the broad conditions for various tax treatments, into very prescriptive rules, and that's why the legislation has mushroomed as it has, which means that there are pitfalls almost in anything that you're looking at. Employment-related securities is a really interesting one. So it pays to take the advice and to do the proper due diligence. Otherwise, you've got an acquirer there that is potentially may have unknown liabilities if it's not undertaken properly.
And I'm also guessing we do look at the liabilities of what acquirer is taking on, but equally from the accountancy side, it's also important to look at mapping out what that profitability post acquisition looks like, and not just profitability but cash flow as well. What are the cash coming in from the recurring income and the expected new business, but also what are your outgoings, and remembering that you may have deferred payments to make as well, and what's the effect going to be on your existing business as well. Do you get involved with that sort of forward planning?
Absolutely. So if a client of ours approaches us and says they want to acquire a business, we will get involved with those aspects of it. We do provide business advice as well. So we would help them put together all of those projections and to actually see how it all plays out. If all going well, they've acquired the target at the right price, what it looks like as you say on the impact of their existing business. So absolutely we'd provide that advice.
And I think that's a great service, and it sort of demonstrates what is the return on this investment, and that it can be afforded from the business that is actually being purchased as well.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, thank you, Anand, for your help. It's been really good and very informative talking to you today about the various aspects that both buyers and sellers should look at, and it says to me definitely there is a real huge place here for talking with chartered accountants that understand this space.
Yeah, absolutely. What you really require is someone a firm that's gone through all of these things and has seen businesses start up as well as being run to success and run to being sold, as well as on the other side, the acquirer side. And we've got a wealth of experience in all of those areas, and we have all of the ancillary services to help to support from beginning to end of any negotiation, any acquisition process, any sale process.
Excellent. Thank you, Anand.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching our series over the past few weeks. We hope you gained value from what was discussed. We do have another series on the way. Have a look at this. I'm Gary Venner, CEO of IFA Acquisitions and CEO of our group company Premier Jobs UK, who combined are one of the UK's largest specialists in financial services recruitment and acquisitions. And I'm joined by Gemma Irvine. Gemma, would you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Gary. I'm Gemma Irvine. I am the HR Lead Director at HR People Support. We are an outsourced HR company. We specialise in supporting small, medium-sized clients with all their HR needs. That includes TUPE, dismissals, disciplinary grievances, as well as recruitment, retention and engagement. My background is from a generous point of view over the last 18 years, but over the last 5 I've been specialising in outsourced HR. And I just want to say thank you for having me today.
Well, welcome, Gemma. We're really delighted that you've joined us for our YouTube series, and it's going to be very informative, I'm sure, on our Q&A, and it really will work well for our buyers and sellers of IFA businesses. So welcome.